Wade Elliott then ahead of Port Vale away. Wade, 2 signings on transfer window deadline day. Take us through them. James Olayinka was in first.
Yeah, James was in. James trained yesterday. So we first spoke to James in April. He came in April. Loads of energy, can sniff a goal, technically good. So he's someone we've been monitoring for a long time. Pleased we were finally able to get it done.
And how important is it that he's not just got Premier League quality, but he's got League Two experience as well from his loan spells with Northampton and Southend?
Well, he fits in with what we're looking for. So he's young. He wants a platform to develop, and he wants somewhere where he can push on and develop his career from. So I think he fits in with what we're about. He's young. He's hungry. He's got good legs, good energy. Ticks a lot of boxes for us.
And Ryan Broom, someone who obviously knows the club, and Cheltenham arguably where he played his best football probably.
I think conversation I had with Ryan was that where he's really flown and played his best football is where he's been able to play week in, week out, and for whatever reason, since he's left here, he's not quite been able to do that. Had a good spell at Plymouth last year, and we know it'd be a popular signing. But again, he fits culturally wise very similar to James. He's still a young man, Broomy, but he's played a lot of games, so he's got a bit of experience. But again, he's hungry, good energy, good legs, and fits in with what we're all about.
And presumably they're both available for Port.
Yep.
On that basis then, how difficult is it going to be picking a team and picking a squad as well?
No, it's a nice difficulty to have. So we've got a big squad anyway, and you could see that was a really pleasing thing about Tuesday. There were players who have not had the minutes that they would have wanted, that came into the team, did really well, are pushing the ones that are currently in the team, and even the physical stats from MK the other night. So lads that haven't had a lot of minutes were able to perform physically really well, which tells you that they train right and they live right. So even before James and Ryan joined, I've got a group that are pushing each other and are making teams difficult to pick.
And does it also tell us that actually everyone's now on the same song sheet in terms of understanding what you as a head coach want from them as players and the style of play? Is there sort of that adjustment now sort of sorted?
I think that's always an ongoing process. So we've had a structure and a way of playing as a football club for, certainly in my time, there's been quite a defined way of playing. I think what we probably didn't take into account was just how big the turnover of players has been. So there's a common thread through the squad, but I think we've gone and reinforced some principles, keep dripping different things in, and I think week on week you're seeing more of it come to fruition. And I talked earlier about building blocks and getting better week on week, and I think you can see that with the more time we're getting on the grass as a group.
You've said it's a big squad. Do you need to get one or two of the younger ones out on loan to clubs who aren't affected by the transfer window to get some match experience? Yeah,
if it will benefit them, we'll have a look at it on a person by person basis. So certainly the squad will be big. Will be, in terms of exact numbers, I think we're around 26, 27. So there's one or two that it might be difficult to get playing minutes to or opportunities, so they might be better served going out and playing regularly. And it's something that we've done with, doesn't mean that we don't think they're good players. We did it with Bonzi last year. So Bonzi went to Kidderminster and played. That was off the back of an injury, but he benefited massively from playing 2 months Saturday, Tuesday. And when he came back, he was ready to step into the team. So, yeah, that might be beneficial for one or two.
Looking at Port Vale, 3 signings yesterday for them as well. How much is it a little bit like start or restarting the season? Because I guess in terms of doing your homework on what they're going to do, it's a little bit like the first game where there's that step into the unknown.
Yeah, well, a little bit, but you've got a body of games to look at, and you can see they've got a couple of different options now because they've got different personnel. They're players that we know, that we've played against before, so they will give them different options, and they will look slightly different. But I think fundamentally their style and their principles will stay the same. So we've got a good idea what's coming there. They've got good attacking threat. They're well organised defensively. It's a tough place to go. We feel that we're in a good place. I think if you take, which we can't do anything about, we can't affect, but if you take the referee's decision out of it at Oxford, we're 4 unbeaten, and we go into the game in a really positive manner. It's my job to take the Oxford result out of it, keep reinforcing to the players that the performances have been really good, and make sure they maintain those standards going into Vale.
And it's a big pitch at Vale. You've already mentioned the energy that James and Ryan will bring to the team. How useful or how needed is that to cover the acreage there?
Well, I think we're fit anyway. I think you look through the squad. Generally, we're young, athletic. We've got people that can cover ground. So that's how we want to set up. While we've lost a little bit of experience, we've gained legs and hunger and energy. So we want to play to our strengths and make sure that we're putting that out on the pitch.
Finally, Wade, obviously Ellis Chapman suspended, but in terms of injuries and illness, everyone okay?
No new ones. The ones that are injured are progressing well, so no setbacks with them. I think they're all on track to be available in the next 2 weeks or so.
Does that include Matty Blair then?
No, Blairy's slightly different. Blairy's a more longer term one. So we're still exploring options with Blairy.
Thanks, Wade. Good luck.
Cheers, Paul.
Morning, Wade.
Morning, John.
When you got unveiled as Cheltenham's head coach, I asked you what you thought the working relationship would be like with Mickey Moore. Something obviously that Michael had, a very close one, and you said you thought and hoped it would be good. One transfer window under your belt. How's it going so far with Mickey? Because obviously it is a key part of the club, isn't it?
Yeah.
That relationship.
No, probably similar to Michael. I speak to Mickey multiple times a day, so we have a close relationship, a lot of dialogue. I think generally we both know what each other's business is and what's going on. So I feel like we've dovetailed pretty well.
Broomy, you overlapped slightly, I think, didn't you? When you arrived in the summer of 2020, was he just on his way to Peterborough, or did you come in just after he'd gone?
No, I think my first day might have been Ryan's last day. So I think it was Gaffer's day. Right. But I mentioned this to him when we spoke. You could see from the way he applied himself in training, you have different types of leaders and people lead in different ways. And I'm not expecting him to be a screamer and a shouter, but I do expect him to set good standards around the training ground in the way that he conducts himself and the way he applies himself.
Yeah, you obviously the club knew Ryan Broom very well, and you overlapped slightly with him. You knew Christian Norton, Dan Ndulu, Taylor Perry, James Olienko. You said you sort of first came across him in the spring. So even though there's a lot of change, has it been easy to keep the same culture because a lot of them knew what it was about already?
Well, I think what it illustrates is that once you get to know us and you get inside the building, this is a good place to be. So we think the culture's good. I think the training's good. We can't affect the perception of what people have outside of us. Generally, what you find is when people who have been here, they enjoy it, they enjoy the work that they get, they think they can develop, and they want to come back, which is probably why we end up getting Dan Alundu, TP, Christian Norton, James, Ryan. Generally, if you look through our signs, our loans, go back to Callum and people like that, it's been because people have come in, and once they've got a taste of what we can do and what we're about, their perception's slightly different.
Did you ever worry last night that Alfie was going to be on his way at all? Did it cause you any stress last night?
No, if I'm being really honest. I got a call maybe for about 20 seconds. I was getting ready to go to bed. I spoke to Mickey, Ryan was in the building. So I was getting ready to go up, and I got a call about 9:30 from Mickey, said we've had a bid from Alfie. I don't know if it met the valuation or not, but as soon as I realised there was an hour and a half of the window left, I knew it wasn't going to happen. There's too many moving parts to get anything done in an hour and a half. So I think Alfie understands that and knows that. I think he's realistic enough. He's been around the game enough to know that if you get a bid at 9:30 at night, it's very, very unlikely it's going to get pushed through. But what it does do is hopefully it gives him a little fillip, and it's nice for him to be recognised by a big club, and the incentive is there for him now to maintain his standards and bang in some goals and make sure that interest is still there in January.
Yeah, so in total, I think there's been 13 signings, but it was probably always bubbling away at the back that you might get some interest from Alfie. So I know you just touched on it there about what you hope he can do now, but how important is it that you kept him, obviously, for what he did last season and what he's capable of this season?
Yeah, well, we were publicly, we came out and said we were looking for a centre forward. So we spoke to two that we identified that didn't transpire for whatever the reason, and then after that we got offered 1 million forwards. But the reason we didn't take them is because we didn't think they're going to affect the group, because we've got 5 very good ones in the building, of which Alfie's a part. So Alfie's a big part of what we're doing at the top end of the pitch. So obviously we're delighted to keep him. It's his job and our job to keep him in a good place. The goal the other night was good for him. Even getting the interest from a championship club will be good for him and will give him a little boost. So I think you're seeing Alfie tomorrow that will be bright, lively, full of beans and playing with full confidence.
Just finally, Wade, I wouldn't say right wing back's been a problem position, but with Matty Blair's injury, Ryan Jackson being out, you had a look at a few trialists there to try and get one in the summer. And do you feel like now with the players you've got in, you're well covered in that one as well as everywhere else on the pitch?
Oh yeah, I'm more than happy with what we got at right wing back. So I think Jacko was excellent when he came in, not just on the pitch but also around it. Jacko's not, again, he's not a screamer and a shouter, but he's got an experienced presence that I think certainly our younger players feed off, and it reassures them. Lloydie's been really good there. So Lloydie's had to do a job, but totally different type of wing back, brings different attributes, but makes us look slightly differently and carries a threat. And obviously we've got Ryan there who can cover that now as well, who's more than well versed at, has done it for the football club in the past really well. And we have got a little bit of versatility through the squad now that we can play different ways, different systems. We've got defensive wing backs, attacking wing backs. So yeah, tactically we've got some variety.
Just one more quick one, Wade. Charlie Brown obviously got his goal Tuesday. He did come off, didn't he? He looked like he was hobbling a bit. Is he all right? Was that just a bit of fatigue, or is he?
He's fine. He got cramp in both legs. So I'm giggling. Remember Charlie like what those animals lay on their back and they're kicking their legs. He was like that for about a minute. But no, he's fine. He's absolutely fine. Trained yesterday.
Brilliant. Cheers, Wade.
Cheers,
Thanks
John.
very much.
Cheers, Paul.